Good afternoon from a roasting hot Peterborough. Beautiful day today. Been busy hanging towels up. Cat parked over there waiting to water stuff. Say hello, Cat.
Hello, Cat.
Hello, Cat. What's going on today? Today I am going to do Koi Kit part 6, and today I'm going to talk about pipe fittings, valves, reducers, clips, all host of stuff. I hope I capture everything. That's the plan. So sit down, relax, grab yourself a coffee, let's have a chat about pipe. So what we have here is some examples of pressure pipe, starting with 4-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch and 1.5 inches. These are the pipes that I use. This is the cleaning pipe for an easy pod, but I just want to demonstrate wall thickness. If you have a look at the wall thickness, generally marked up WT, it's this dimension. How thick is the wall of that pipe? And as you can see, through different manufacturers, it does fluctuate. This is not a pressure pipe, and the wall thickness doesn't need to be very thick, so that's quite narrow. I believe, I can measure it if you wish, this is about 5 millimeters, this is about 3.5, this is about 4, and this is about 3.5. All these 4 items are pressure pipe. The 4-inch pressure pipe on my system is what comes from the bottom drain up into the easy pod. Why do I use pressure pipe? Well, this has to be buried in concrete when it's attached to a bottom drain. Now, I know people that have used the standard sewage pipe, which is 110 millimeters, and that is a slightly different wall thickness. Now, anybody that knows me, I over-engineer everything, so I am not risking my pond with the standard brown plastic sewage pipe or drain pipe. I went for the pressure pipe because once it's in that concrete, you can't get to it. The 3-inch pipe I've used from my skimmer box to my skimmer easy pod. The 2-inch pipe, this is the spray bar, and I don't use 2-inch anywhere else, and now because I've taken the 2-inch spray bar out, I don't use that neither. This for me is the most popular size at 1.5 inches. These are all imperial sizes, these are not metric sizes. The difference between imperial and metric: imperial is old-fashioned but still used today. If you were to measure the OD, the outside diameter, so the full width of the pipe, with a metric system, whatever you buy, say for instance this is 75 mil, the outside diameter of a metric system will be 75 mil. Similar with this, if this was 110 metric system, you buy 110 millimeters, you get 110 millimeters. So as discussed, I've now got my tape measure. The wall thickness of this pipe is 5 millimeters. So a 4-inch pipe, imperial, easy enough to measure in millimeters, but that's 5 millimeters. The outside diameter is 4.5 inch exactly. 4.5 inch of a 4-inch pipe. But remember, it's imperial, so this is an approximation. The inside diameter generally says ID, inside diameter. This one is just over 4 inch, But the most important diameter when it comes to pipe is the outside diameter, the OD, because that is what fits into your fittings or your valves. So just remember that. All my system is imperial, barring probably one or two little areas. The easy poured central pipe I think is 90 millimeters. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. So pressure pipe, because it has to deal with pressure, 4 inch, 3 inch, 2 inch, 1.5 inch. Now we move on to flexible pipe. Starting on the right, this is air pipe. Quite a thick wall. This is 12 millimeter. And I got this from Absolute Koi, and I use this for all my air fittings, but we'll come on to that shortly. This is just a demonstration of what pipe structure can look like. This is just basically an overflow from a water tub. Very, very flexible. Ideal use, will not take any pressure at all, but it's ideal for just an overflow. This can be affected by temperature and weather. This can get really brittle and eventually fracture. So I would never use that on my pond. This next piece of pipe, this is an inch flexible pipe I use on my sump pump if I need to do some rapid cleaning out or emptying my pond. This is an inch pipe, and it's got a piece of wire that travels round in a spiral to give the wall structural strength to go with the flexibility. I only use this for just emptying my pond out if I need to. Just as a bit of an extra demo, this is just a piece of standard hose pipe, and as you can see there is a braiding structure inside to give the wall strength as mentioned before. This pipe is 44 millimeters. This is really, really flexible. It has quite a nice wall thickness, but it is not designed for pressure use. I use this for my outlets to my waste, so there is no pressure there, just basically get the water out. It can trickle out, it can flood out, but this can take it. This pipe, again from Absolute Koi, this is a 50 millimeter pressure pipe. This is the kind of stuff that I use in conjunction with the solid pressure pipe, but you have to use a reducer in order to swap between 50 millimeter. I'll just demonstrate there. It's a metric size, so you ask for 50 and you get 50. I use this on all the tight spaces that I need to get through in conjunction with using standard pressure pipe. Right, as I was saying earlier, in order to connect a piece of 1.5 inch pipe to a 50 mil pipe, you need what they call a reducer. So this is 1.5 inch to 50 mil reducer. You may be able to see stamped on the upper edge 50 with a slightly thinner wall that you can see, and on the reverse side you have got 1.5 inch and a slightly thicker wall. This is what you use to go from 50 millimeter flexible pressure pipe to 1.5 inch solid pressure pipe. There's my 1.5 inch into there, and then 50 mil fits on there, and that's all there is to it. So I'll take that off and lay them down. Right, when it comes to standard fittings, again, this is just a through connector, and you can see on the top 3 inch. physical difference in size. If you want to reduce down again, you use these. This is a 2-inch reducer down to 1.5 inches. The 1.5 inch portion fits like so. Slide it inside, and then that will sit inside there. So there is all manner of reducers to go down from 3 to 2 to 1.5 inches. And I've also got another reducer, because people who know me, I seem to collect fittings for no apparent reason. And again, this states 2-inch to 1.5 inch reducer. You can see there's a ridge on the inside, and you use that to reduce down. And again, that's how 1.5 inch fits into this reducer. Right, before we come away from the flexible pipe, one thing's quite important, that when it comes to using a solvent adhesive on flexible pipe, I use this. This has to be put on here, on the 50mm side of this fitting, and it slides on. That then exposes 1.5 inches to come out to solid pipe, which means this is then used from the other end of this onto, and for example, 1.5 inch pipe. So flexible solvent, reducer fitting 50mm to 1.5 inch, solid pressure pipe adhesive or solvent, solid pipe, in that order. Hope that helps. Right, next up is fittings. I just so happen to have a spare piece. As you can see, this is pressure flexible 50mm, 1.5 inch reducer, 1.5 inch pipe, 1.5 inch 45 degree, 1.5 inch 90 degree, and then this is called a plain union, because there is no thread on the inside and no thread on the outside. If it was inside, it would be female. If it were outside, it would be male. I use these type of unions on both my UVs. If I need to take them off, I just basically undo this collar, both sides of the UV, and the UV drops away. Very, very easy to use. Next up is a T-piece. This just happens to be a 3-inch. Very, very big, very solid, and as you can imagine, expensive. This is a 3-inch 90 degree. Again, very solid, very expensive. Two-inch straight socket. The little rib inside is the limit of the pipe going in this way and the pipe going in that way. When you do glue these together, push the pipe in until it comes to a dead stop against this ribbed piece. Then you know you've got it fully home. Valves. I use what they call double union valves. These are unions, 1, 2, so it's a double union. If you ever see a valve with just one union on and then a straight piece, similar to, what have we got? Something on the end that's just plain, that will then be a single union valve. If you also look closely, there is a flow direction with an arrow. Not all manufacturers will put a flow direction, but in this case this one does. They come with orange handles and blue handles. Again, pressure pipe versions, very durable, very strong. I think this is 3/4 inch, yeah, 3/4 inch, and of course it's in my extensive box of spare pieces. So what if you're struggling for space, or you have to do emergency plumbing, you've got a leak or something like that? You can use these little babies. These are rubberized with what I call a Jubilee clip-on. You may call them something different. This is a 1.5 inch 90-degree bend, and this is a straight connector, similar design with Jubilee clips on, and this is a 2-inch straight connector. So this can get you out of jail free. A lot of people use these on their systems. That's absolutely fine. For me, no. I would use these in a dire emergency, but if I'm not in an emergency, I will always go for pressure pipe. Even though pressure pipe may not be needed, it keeps me happy. Everybody knows what these are, and if you don't, this is called a stepped hose tail. Each of these thicknesses is a different diameter pipe which you require. So in this case, if you require this in order to get your pipe on with a Jubilee clip, which would be one of these, so you require that, you would put a hacksaw blade and take these 3 sections off. If you leave them on, that is the only amount of water that will be allowed through, and you're reducing the pressure. So if you're using this, cut these 3 off. If you're using this one, cut these 2 off. Stepped hose tail. Then how do you fasten them onto walls or fixed surfaces? I use these. This is 1.5 inch, this is inch, and basically a clip off top. Put your pipe inside, clips back into place, a single hole to screw it onto the wall. Very secure. This is the 1.5 inch version, works exactly the same. Just a gentle pressure in to squeeze it to lift off, and then clips into place. Again, more expensive than other styles, but I've engineered that problem out. Right, and last but not least, we'll talk about this. This is 12mm pneumatic pipe, or air pipe, whichever way you want to call it. And these fittings are from a company called Festo, F-E-S-T-O. That's just a 90 elbow T-piece, a valve, on-off valve, and you'll all recognise this from your air pipes going out to your air stones. A 4-way manifold with taps. A fitting sits in the end. 12mm pipe will stick straight in that, and that will then supply from your air pump to your air stones. So that's about it for pipe fittings, glues, reducers, valves. I think I've just about covered everything. If you can think of anything in the meantime, please let me know, and you take care of yourself, look after your family, stay safe. Cheers.